dolls, welcome back to my channel and happy Freaky Friday. This is episode 12. It is insane. I honestly look forward to these Friday videos so much. They are my favorite because I get you guys involved and have your stories, and we've gotten some really pretty incredible creepy stories. So thank you so much for participating. If you do have a story you'd like to submit, please submit it to freakyfridays2019@gmail.com. Today I have this look for you. I was using the new Huda Beauty rose gold palette. I just really wanted to use that. I went with some nude lips. I have this gothic-y sort of dress that I love, and my hair, I honestly kept it super simple. So I really hope you enjoyed this look. Before we get into the video, as always, I have been reminding you guys, please continue to interact with these videos. Give this video a thumbs up and comment down below. That way it can get higher in the algorithm and it could stop messing with my view rate. I'm pretty sure all of you know what's going on by now, so I'm not going to repeat it, but basically please interact with these videos so I can continue doing them. But you guys have been doing so great. These videos actually get the most interaction compared to my other videos with higher rates. So thank you so much. You guys are just so on the ball. I love you. I love that you are coming to my rescue. And yeah, okay, I'm gonna stop blabbing. If you are not subscribed, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell notification to be notified when I upload videos. All right, dolls, let's get into this video. Okay, dolls, here we have the first story for today, and this is from Melanie R. Hi, Ashley. My name is Melanie R. First off, I love your channel and your style. So my story begins about 5 years ago when I was pregnant with my son. At the time, I was living with my parents, and my husband and I weren't living together yet. I didn't really believe much in the paranormal, but after this, I dare not want to experience it again. So this happened when I was 5 months pregnant. All throughout the day, I was fine. I was so happy because my husband and I were planning our wedding. But later that night, we went our separate ways and we talked on the phone until about 1 a.m. After that, I fell asleep because I was really tired. But then I heard something trying to open my closet. Mind you, my closet at my parents' house is facing my bed, and the closet is one of those mirror closets. So then I sat up, and to my surprise, the closet door was open. I told myself I got to be dreaming. Then, as soon as I went to close it, all I saw was a black-looking hole. Nothing but a black hole, with a shadow figure inside it. Point to my stomach, telling me to come in. Oh, hell no. I ran out of the room, got my car keys, and headed to my husband's house. I told him I had a bad nightmare and I needed him. After that night, I moved out ever since. Update on the room, my parents have told me that they have heard things in there and they keep the door closed at all times and never go in there. Recently, my mom told me that my little dog just scratches on the door and barks, like if she's waiting for someone to open it. I hope you enjoyed my story and hope you can share it. I love you. Heck no, so your parents are still living in that house? Why do they not move? I'm a person who believes in multiverses, but that is like a portal to some underground, deep, dark, especially, it was pointing at your stomach. I'm glad you did not go back there because I certainly would not have. Thank you so much, Melanie, for sharing your story. This next one is from Stephanie, and it is titled, I Saw a Duende. So a duende is like a little gnome. Hi doll, my name is Stephanie. Me and my sister are such big fans of yours. We love every single one of your videos and especially your Get Ready With Me. Oh, thank you, my love. And now that you've added this Freaky Friday series, we love you even more. Well, I love you girls even more. And we literally get so excited every Friday for a new video, and it inspired us to tell you one of our many creepy stories we've had growing up. Hopefully, this isn't a long one. So years ago, when I was probably around 10 years old, I had lived in the house that was haunted, and that house had been in the family for years, so everyone had a story or stories to tell about the house. Mine was about a duende or gnome, I guess you can call it. It was night. I had decided to sleep at my parents' for some reason. Around 4 o'clock in the morning, I had suddenly woken up, and by then my eyes were adjusted, and I just felt as if someone had been watching me sleep. So I was looking around the room when something caught my eye. I looked up at my parents' curtain, and from what I can make out, it was a small creature. And it had a pointy hat and was just sitting on the curtain. Oh, hell no. At first, I didn't realize what I was looking at, and I thought I was dreaming, but all of a sudden, I saw it move and saw it climb down from the window. And by that time, I started screaming and had woken up my parents. But by the time they had awoken, nothing was in the room, and they obviously thought I was dreaming. But after that night, I had not put any thought about it and just brushed it aside until I started growing up and hearing more stories about those little creatures. After finding out what they were, I was 100% sure I had seen one and I had caught it. Not sure why it was in the room, but it has always stuck to me. It's not a totally scary story, but it was very creepy. Hopefully you enjoyed the story, and thank you so much for doing these videos. You guys, I have yet to see a duende. It's like, I know I shouldn't want to see one, but at the same time, I've always been so curious because my grandmother, my grandparents have seen them before, and people in Jay's family have seen them before. I never have, and I shouldn't be saying I want to see one because all of a sudden I bet you one's gonna pop out and I'm gonna be super freaked out. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for sharing your story, and I'm glad you haven't seen one again after that. So this next story is from Gemma. Hi, Ashley. It's so exciting to write to you. I'm a fan from the UK. Yay, UK! I've been watching your videos for years, and I love how you are always 100% true to yourself in your style, life choices, and content. Thank you so much, my love. Story number 1. Back in 1961, my mom was an 18-year-old student at art college in the historic British town of Rochester in Kent. One lunch break, she decided to visit the medieval ruins of Rochester Castle. For some reason, she wanted to be alone, and exploring the 800-year-old ruins seemed like a good place to think. It was a beautiful sunny day, and there were no other visitors that afternoon. My mom paid her 6 pence, remember this was the 1960s, to enter, and was immediately drawn to one of the corner towers, which still had a stone spiral staircase running up inside. As she climbed the staircase, she got a good view inside the ruined keep, which would have been the center of the castle. She could see right down to the ground of the keep and saw it was littered with bodies of dead pigeons. My mom continued to climb higher up to the tower. As she took her next step, a pigeon hopped out of nowhere in front of her. It stayed a step ahead of her with every stair, and she felt like it was leading the way upwards. Ugh. The top of the tower was open with no roof, and when she got there, my mom stood still to take in the fabulous view of Rochester as the sun shone down on her and the breeze lifted her hair. The pigeon flapped up into the ruined wall beside her, and out of nowhere she heard a voice say, "Go on, jump. It won't hurt." Oh, hell no! My mom could see there was no one else up there but her and this strange pigeon, and she turned around and sprinted down these stone stairs as fast as her legs could carry her. She didn't go back until decades later as part of a family holiday, and even though we all visited the castle, she wouldn't go near the tower. I don't blame her. I've attached a couple of photos of the castle so you can see for yourself how it looks. That place is beautiful. I mean, it looks stunning, but I'm sure, no doubt, there are some haunted things in there. That thing was trying to get her to kill herself. That is insane. Story number 2. When my boyfriend Dave was 14, he spent the summer holidays hanging out with his friends and getting into mischief like young lads do. One week, he had a sleepover at another boy's house, and the pair decided to go exploring the countryside. Neither of them knew the area very well, and by chance, they found a big old empty house nearby. They forced the door open like the naughty boys they were, and finding the house full of huge empty rooms, proceeded to play manhunt and hide and seek for the whole afternoon. Dave remembers running up and down the stairs and in and out of all rooms. The pair of them had a fantastic time. The next day, he and his friend met some of the local kids and asked them if they wanted to play in the big old house down the road, as it was such a fun place to hang out. The local boys looked really confused and asked Dave and his friend how they could have played in that house, as it had been abandoned for years and it wasn't even a proper house anymore. Sure enough, when they went back, there were no floors, stairs, doors, or windows, just a derelict shell of a building. To this day, my boyfriend can't explain what happened, but we both think maybe he and his friend had slipped into a different dimension that afternoon to a place where the house was still whole. It's the only explanation we can think of. I hope you like my stories. I love Freaky Fridays. They're a real treat, and I watch them on a Saturday morning while I'm getting ready for work to set me up for the rest of the day. Take care and lots of love, Gemma. That's so crazy. Another one about like a portal or a different dimension, which may sound crazy to some people, but I've done a lot of research on it, and it's just really exciting to think about that. So I think it's crazy that two stories in one Freaky Friday, they both kind of go along with the same thing. Thank you so much, Gemma, for sharing your story. Okay, dolls. This next story is from Catherine C. Hi, Ashley Marie. May I start by saying I'm a longtime fan and love your tutorials. They are so clear and have such beautiful results. Thank you so much, my love, and I'm so glad that they're working for you. I'm from London, England. I grew up in northwest London, and I've had several mysterious experiences, but there are two that stick in my mind. One not so scary and the other truly terrifying. The first story happened when I was on a short break to an east side resort called Great Yarmouth. It's a very traditional resort with sandy beaches, a pier, rides, fish and chips, and so on. And my husband and I had gone there to visit some friends from the UK vintage pinup scene. Many of the hotels are a bit run down, so the only place we wanted to stay in was the Grand, a 5-star Victorian hotel. Oh, Victorian hotels, I love those. Which has been there since Great Yarmouth was an upper-class resort 150 years ago. The room was clearly original. It had high ceilings with ornate carvings, and the massive ensuite bathroom meant that this used to be an exclusive room because in the old days, not all rooms had bathrooms. I had a quick glance around, so I know the bathroom door was open, as was the wardrobe. After unpacking, we went down to the cocktail lounge for drinks. After a while, I needed to use the bathroom. The bar toilet was closed for cleaning, so I decided to go up to our room. I noticed that the corridor leading to the room was incredibly quiet. No single noise. No tourists. When I got into the room, the wardrobe was shut and so was the bathroom door. I felt that was odd, but maybe the maid had been in, although we just checked in. I went to use the bathroom. The door was very heavy and definitely as old as the hotel. And as I went in, I caught a glimpse of something, like a tiny movement in the bedroom vanity. I looked again, but nothing. I put it down to a shadow and went into the bathroom. After using it, I was repinning my hair and doing my makeup when an upperclassman's voice on the other side of the door said, "Are you quite ready yet, darling?" Oh my gosh. In an irate voice. Now, for some reason, I wasn't scared, but I felt like I would if my husband was getting irate waiting for me to finish doing my makeup. But I knew 100% it wasn't him because of the accent. Again, exactly the same phrase. "Are you quite ready yet, darling?" I didn't know what to do. Who was on the other side? So for some reason, I called back, "Yes, dear, just doing my hair." And the bathroom door swung open. There was nothing there. I quickly picked up my stuff and went back down to the cocktail lounge where my husband had not moved an inch and was chatting to the barman about football, soccer. I told him the story and he joked that the ghost probably died waiting for his wife to be ready to go out. I think it was some kind of time slip, nothing else in that hotel. Okay, this is getting really freaky. This is now the third story about, other dimensions, multiverses. It's really weird that I'm reading these videos today because I've been really researching all of that stuff. And it's been really interesting, and I've been doing like law of attraction and manifestation, and they talk about the universe and multiverses. So the fact that I've chosen 3 today is really creepy. I'm like tripping out right now. I'm excited, but I'm tripping out. Anyway, that is hilarious what your husband said, because I'm sure every man or even woman can relate to their significant other taking forever. Jay's like that all the time. He will probably die waiting for me getting ready. The second story is really scary. Now, before I start, I've had sleep paralysis before, so I know what it feels like when it's real or medical. What I am going to describe was different, and not only for that reason. When we first married, my husband and I lived in a flat that was built into the station building of a London Underground station, above a shop attached to it. It was built in 1932. The flat was over 2 floors, with the shop below, then the ground and the station. It was always rumbling and shaking because of the tube trains. Even at night, freights and work trains passed through, but we were used to that. The flat was really cheap and huge. Because it was very basic, single-glazed windows, linoleum floors, ugly 1970s bathroom, clanky old heaters, you get the picture. There were 2 bedrooms, one huge, as in about 3 times the size of an average double bedroom in the UK. The other one was a small single-child bedroom. The big bedroom door faced the narrow passage and then the old, cold bathroom opposite. For some reason in this big bedroom, I always felt safer sleeping with the window open and the light on in the bathroom. It was a gut feeling, like I needed to know ways out, although the window was 3 floors up. Anyway, some night my husband would work late, and as I was a light sleeper, he would sleep on the sofa or in the small room so as not to wake me. I came to dread these nights. At first, I would be awoken by something pinching my toe hard, like bony, dry old hands. Ooh! It would wake me and I'd spend hours sitting in the dark, confused. Whenever I drifted off, pinched again. I didn't tell anyone because it was so weird and confusing. Then it got worse. One night, I was woken by the toe pinching and then something took hold of my blankets and tried to drag them off the bed in the direction of a dark corner of the hallway. I held on to the blankets. I felt that if I let whatever this was take them, something bad would happen. I felt very breathless and couldn't shout or scream. I just clung on like a tug of war. Eventually, the force lost its power. I turned on all the lights and slept. I knew people would say this was sleep paralysis, so again, I kept quiet. Things really came to a peak a couple of weeks later. My husband was staying at his parents' house overnight because his dad needed help with some garden work over 2 days. So I was home alone. On this night, the toe pinching awoke me as it had before. I was immediately awake and holding on to my blankets, but this time, first of all, there was not just a force. I knew there was something physical there. I didn't dare look, but I knew it was standing over the foot of my bed. There was a soft beanbag type chair there. It was like this figure was firmly planted on the floor, looming over the bed. Of course, it started to pull out my blanket, but this time it was very strong. It started to pull me with them. I curled up my legs so I was in a ball and grabbed hold of the frame of the headboard so it could not drag me closer, all the while clutching my blankets with one hand. I kept my eyes tight shut. I sensed that I would see it if I opened them. The thing then did something horrendous. It started to use my blankets to heave itself onto the bed and drag itself nearer and nearer to me. I started to roll around and kick out, all the while praying Hail Marys. It was a real physical struggle. The thing then grabbed the back of my pajama trousers and started to pull me down the bed and try to straighten out my body. It was trying to get me to lie straight with nothing between us, pulling up the back of my top and pressing me flat, face down on the bed. But I was really fighting hard and praying. It seemed to weaken its attacks. I felt its intention was to take something from me by crushing me, like life force or something vital. I can't explain it. And although it managed to press me down, that bed cover was still between us. Honestly, it seemed like that barrier was protecting me. Eventually, I decided I had to get out. I somehow threw the loose side of the blankets over the creature, turned my head towards the door so I could see the door but not the thing, and wiggled out and dashed downstairs where I stayed all night. Thank goodness I had the door open and the bathroom light on to see by. The next morning, I went upstairs. The room was calm, but the bed covers were all the way over the other side of the room. I later told my husband I would only sleep on the sofa or in the spare room when he worked late, because I had an experience in our room. It was okay when he was there too. Normally, he would make fun of me. He doesn't believe in anything spooky. But this time, he went all quiet and thoughtful and said, "It's not something pinching your toe, is it?" I was like, "Yes," and it attacked me. He can't explain it, but had similar pinching when he slept and I was up and out shopping, or when I had girls' night out. When I returned, it would be all okay. Soon afterwards, we moved to a house, although my husband only experienced having his toe pinched and I never had anything that scary happen again. I could never relax in our bedroom again. Thanks for reading my freaky story, Kathy Ann. Girl, no, I don't even understand how you even managed to still sleep in that house or that apartment. Just the crawling on the bed is giving me goosebumps because I'm just imagining all of it happening, just a clear vision of what is going on. It's freaking me out. Thank you so much, Kathy, for sharing your story. This next story is from Juanita, and it is titled Past Life. Hello, first off, I want to say I adore you and love watching you on YouTube. Thank you, my love. The first story isn't a ghost story, but freaky nonetheless. From the time I first brought my youngest daughter home from the hospital till she was about 2 years old, she always cried when she heard an ambulance with sirens go on by. She would call it a whoa, 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 and it always scared her. Finally, one day when we were just sitting outside, I was swinging her on a swing and an ambulance went by with sirens blaring. My daughter started to cry. Finally, I asked her, "Why do you always cry when you hear a whoa, whoa, whoa?" She looked at me straight in the eye at 2 years old and said, "When I was an old lady, I used to sit in my chair and rock while I sewed in a hoop. Then the whoa, whoa, whoa came and I died and went to heaven for a little while before coming back here as a baby again." I want to tell you, I was so freaked out hearing my baby say this. She never seen anyone sew in a hoop. She wouldn't have known that an ambulance would take a dying person away, and she wouldn't have known about reincarnation. I'm sorry to say that it freaked me out so much that we never spoke of it again. Now I'm sorry and wish I could have found out a little bit more about the woman she used to be. She is 26 years old now and doesn't remember a thing about it. Story 2. When my kids were little, we moved to a cemetery home built in the late 1800s. The older kids used to tell us they always played with their friend upstairs. I used to just think that they had an imaginary friend because I never saw anything. When my youngest daughter got a little older, 3 or 4 maybe, she would play with him too. She called him Baby Michael. One day I decided to change rooms with my oldest daughter. She had the biggest room upstairs and we had a medium-sized room downstairs. We started sleeping upstairs. One night while I was asleep, I heard the noise of little feet running down the hallway into my bedroom. I felt a child standing next to the side of my bed, so I reached down and put my hand on its butt to pull the child into bed with me. When I put my hands on the child's butt, I realized this baby had the old-style rubber pants on over a cloth diaper. I immediately opened my eyes. My hand was still on the child's back and I could totally feel him standing there, but I could not see him at all. Needless to say, I didn't sleep well that night. The next day, I woke. I spoke with some of the neighbors, asking them if they knew anything that ever happened in that house. They said a little boy drowned while taking a bath in the kitchen sink. The little boy had never been scary or mischievous, so we just lived with him as part of the house till we moved away. Sorry so long. Hope you enjoyed my stories. Love, Juanita. That is so sad. So the first one, past life. That's crazy because I was watching a video. Her name is Dolores Cannon, and she talks about, she does past life regressions, and I've always wanted to get one done with, there's a medium locally who does past life regressions that has really good reviews and people have done them with her, because I've always wondered what were my past lives. I do believe in past lives, and you know, we come on this world to learn our lessons. We write our own script for what we're going to do in life, but of course when we come to earth we don't remember, because that's the whole point of going through your journey, figuring it all out until you get it right. But anyway, so that was really interesting. And the one about the little boy, that is so sad because he just wanted to play with the little kids. That's who they would play with. But it's really sad that he drowned, and in a kitchen sink, because, well, I guess it depends how big that kitchen sink was, but that's still really sad. Thank you so much, Juanita, for sharing your stories. Okay, dolls, so this next one is, well, the email is Luna. Hey, Ashley, love your videos. Been watching since 2012. That's when I first started. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's a little backstory. My mom just moved from the apartment we lived in for about 10 years. We live about an hour-ish away from a casino that just a few years ago, the bridge to get over there was finally blocked off so people wouldn't jump off. It was known for that once the casino goers would lose a lot of money, they would commit suicide by jumping off, and many, many people have died there. When one of my brothers was about 3 years old, soon after the bridge was blocked off, we decided to take a road trip under the bridge on our way home from visiting family. We wanted to stop by right under it and see all the memorial stuff like roses and crosses people had left behind for those who have passed. When we stopped, we all got off except my brother. We left him in the car seat. We didn't take long, and then we went home. That night, my little brother kept saying he was seeing a monkey in the corner of a living room staring at him making faces. Around that time, we had a lot of family members spend the night on our couch since they lived about an hour away. They could crash for the night. Every time someone would spend the night, the very next morning they would tell us how they would hear someone walking in the kitchen opening cabinets, or they would just feel someone downstairs. Our apartment was very small. The kitchen was only a few feet away. My mom ended up having another baby boy, my youngest brother. When I was in my last year of high school that summer, it was very, very hot. The upstairs would be burning, so my mom bought a couch bed for downstairs. My mom, my stepdad, and 2 little brothers slept downstairs where it was much cooler. This was the freakiest week of my life. I'm not scared of anything. I believe in the supernatural, but I don't give it life. I have always heard weird noises in that apartment when no one was home, but I would always ignore it. One night that week, I woke up and felt a dark presence in the corner of my room directly across from my bed right at my feet. I've never been more scared in my life. I started sweating so bad, but I stayed under my blankets. All week at night, only I would feel that dark presence, and it wouldn't go away until I would wake up in the morning. It got so bad, I made a fort around myself before bed with pillows and blankets. Keep in mind, it was hot as hell. I never told my mom because I didn't even believe it myself. I thought I was crazy until she came to me one day and said weird things have been happening to her that same week. She said she looked over to check on my other brother, and she saw one of them was between her and my stepdad, and the other one was on the other side of him. So who crawled in next to her? She also told me that day when she was home alone with my younger brother, she was in the bathroom and he was in her bedroom when she heard him scream bloody murder. When she ran out, he was crying, terrified. When she asked him what was wrong, he said there was a tall man dressed in all black standing in front of him with his hands over his face. My mom noticed her Bible she had been keeping next to her bed was open, laying flipped over. She didn't leave it like that. She got so angry she grabbed my brother, ran out yelling at whatever was tormenting us to leave them alone. After that, I told her what was happening to me. She ended up saving the place and blessing it with some holy water. After that, all activity went down, but she would have to constantly save the apartment. We would still hear chairs moving when no one was downstairs and footsteps upstairs, doors opening and closing when everyone was gone, but we ignored it. My mom finally moved out and stopped experiencing crazy things. Flowers and plants lived a lot longer in her new apartment. The new people that moved into my mom's old place told her that they started experiencing cabinets opening, things being thrown, and just bad energy since moving in. I feel bad for that new family living there, but I'm glad it's all over now. That poor family, they're like, oh crap, what did we get ourselves into? Oh, so I wonder if it's just maybe a lost soul that committed suicide and is just so frustrated they can't get to the other side. I don't know, but that is really sad. I'm glad you guys got yourselves out of there. Okay, dolls, we have time for one more story, and this one is from Alyssa. Hi Ashley, my name is Alyssa. I love your Freaky Friday series, so I thought I'd tell you my story. My mom, brother, cousin, and I lived in a house in Riverside. We moved back into it when I was 12 because we had moved out when I was 7. I had the master bedroom, and my mom was across from mine, and my brother shared it with her, and my cousins was next to ours. The energy in that house was off. You couldn't walk through the hallways without the hairs standing up on the back of your neck. Some nights, my cousin and I would stay up late and watch movies or be on the laptop, and one night at 3 a.m., we heard dishes moving, and we thought it was my mom, but her door was closed. A couple weeks went by, and my mom left to work, and my cousin and brother went to school, but I stayed home because I didn't feel so good. So I was in my mom's room and I was straightening my hair, and she had those closet doors that are mirrors. Ooh, again. And I was sitting on the floor in front of it, and I had a feeling I was just being watched. And then I hear the bed creak. And when I look through the mirror, I can see what it seemed like something sitting on the bed. I told my mom, and she believed me right away because she too had had her own experiences. A couple weeks passed by, and it was the anniversary of my grandfather's death, and everyone went to the cemetery, but I stayed home. My mom and brother got home, and my brother asked my mom if he can open the door while she gets some groceries out. So when he opened the door, he saw a shadow-like figure that looked like me, and it disappeared when he yelled for my mom. So my mom yelled for me and asked me if it was me, and it wasn't. I was in my room the whole time. That day was the last day we stayed there, and my mom put it up for sale. We eventually went back to grab our belongings with multiple family members so we can feel safe, but we didn't. As soon as my grandmother walked in the house, her eyes rolled back and she started talking in tongue, and the garage door was shaking. That's when we knew we never wanted to go back there. Okay, obviously it's evil, and we always say this, and a lot of people in the comments as well too. If there is anything pretending to look like someone you know, that thing is evil because it is trying to trick you. Good thing you guys got out of there. How was your grandma after? Did she say anything? Did she even remember any of that happening? That is so creepy. So happy you guys did not go back. Smart decision. Thank you so much, Alyssa, for sharing your story. So that is it for all of our Freaky Friday stories today. I am going to move on to the outfit and hopefully unspook you guys a bit. All right, dolls, let's get into this outfit.
Okay, dolls, so for the outfit, this is a dress and the brand is TFNC London. I bought it on ASOS maybe about 2 years ago, so unfortunately they don't have it anymore, but I'll link the actual brand website below. That way maybe they might restock, but I don't see it on their website anymore. But I just absolutely love it. It has lace details, some mesh, and it's long. Look at that long tail. It's so beautiful. I wore this for my 30th birthday or 31st birthday, and I got so many compliments. I love the choker neck with the tie, and it's just so beautiful, and it's soft, and I just love the feeling of it.
So that's it for today's Freaky Friday video, dolls. If you do have a story to submit, please submit it to freakyfridays2019@gmail.com. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, comment down below, share with your friends. But thank you so much, my dolls. I hope you have a Freaky Friday, and I will see you next week. Bye, loves.